Welcome to Excel Magic Trick number 1001. If you want to download this workbook 1000 to 1002, click on the link below the video. Hey, back in 1000 we saw how to do a partial text lookup and get the last. Here we're going to use some of the concepts we learned back in video number 1000. We're going to look up partial text, so we need to look up civil and find these three items here. But then we need to examine the last two digits, find the biggest number, then return the 32 to the cell. All right, so just like last video, we're going to use the search function. Now, in this example, I have data validation based on a list over to the right here. If you didn't and you wanted to check for FRR, WESS in case mattered, whether it was lowercase or uppercase, you could use the find function. The find and search do exactly the same thing, except for find is case sensitive. So this is not case sensitive, so I'm going to use search. Find what? I'm going to find this. We're going to do a function argument array operation, give it a bunch of values. So now search will spit out a bunch of positions where it finds the subtext string civil. So F9, and boom, we get a 1, 1, 1. We're only interested in the numbers. Now, in our last video, we used the lookup function, and the lookup function ignored the errors and found the ones. But here, we're going to, if we kept the value errors, it would mess up the rest of our formula because we're going to do some array multiplying. So I'm going to say is number. Is number will simply look at that array and report a true wherever it's a number and a false whenever it's not a number. So F9, there we go. There's our trues, right? The trues are what we're interested in. But that's just the position. It's going to tell us position 1, second to last, last. Control Z. And then what are we going to do? We need to get these last two numbers. Now, it just so happens that each one of these items is always going to, the right two items or characters are going to be the numbers we're interested in. So I'm going to take this string and multiply it. So I'm going to take this array of trues and falses and multiply it. The text I want to extract, I'm giving it a bunch of values. Again, that's a function argument array operation. And how many from the right do I want to extract from each one of those items? 2. So now watch this. If I were to highlight this in F9, this spits out, gets exactly what we want, all the two characters from the right of each one of these items. But notice it's in double quotes. That means it's text. No problem. We need numbers because we're going to eventually find the biggest one. But that operation right there, that multiplying any math operation on text as numbers, will convert them back to numbers. True times any number will give us the number. So F9, boom, that's our array of numbers. Now we can simply ask which is the biggest or the max. That's 6, Control Z. So I'm going to say max. Now we could consider using the aggregate here to avoid using Control-Shift-Enter, but parts of the formula later will require Control-Shift-Enter no matter what, so I'm going to stick with the max. F9, there's our 6, Control Z. If you were to enter this right here, I mean, this is cool enough in itself. You'd use Control-Shift and Enter. You can see the curly brackets up there. That's from us doing Control-Shift-Enter. Those curly brackets are Excel saying, hey, I understood this is an array calculation. Now, I need the position. I think that's 8, right? The 8th position is where I need to get this 32 and come back here. So that 6, I need to use that 6 and match it against a similar array with all those numbers and say, are you equal to any of those? So check this out. I'm going to use the match function. Now, that whole thing is going to be our lookup value. We're looking up the number 6. But comma, the lookup array. We're going to take this little part here, so the is number and the search, all the way to there, and Control C, and we're going to paste it right there. Now let's just check this out. We can click on the argument screen tip here and hit F9. Oh yeah, that's just spitting out the number. So now the match is going to get from the max a 6, and it's going to find a 6 here. Now, for these particular items, civil, there's never going to be a repeat there. There might be a repeat some of these other places, but they've already been isolated out because of our search. So Control Z, and comma. These are not sorted, so the match type will be 0 for exact match. Now I can highlight F9. That's saying, hey, the 8th position, Control Z. That will require Control Shift Enter. But now we can simply use the index. Now the index function, that array argument can handle array operations, but that's just a range there, comma, and the rest of this has array operations that are not within that argument. So this will require Control Shift Enter, Control Shift and Enter. Escape, escape. Oh, I typed a 0 instead of a close parentheses. Control Shift Enter, 32. So now if I change it to this one here, it's looking through all of these and finding the biggest one, which is 58, and returning 6. If I come over here and say, hey, this mechanical, it should be returning that 19. And sure enough, it is. All right, we'll see you next trick.